Hey there, my friends, and all you love seekers and peacemakers out there. It's Brudda Zen, ya Brudda from a different Mudda, and it's time for another Take 10 with Zen. Today's Take 10 with Zen, really the spirit of love kind of pressed upon my heart is to talk about sharing our truth. This year, like every year, I kind of choose a theme or a theme comes to me on what it's going to be about. And since this year was, 2020, it was all about seeing my truth more clearly. So I thought I would kind of just talk a little bit about that. I know that it didn't really dawn on me that how that would happen. How we see our truth more clearly is when something challenges our truth or something brings truth in our face, and this year, oh my God, definitely has been one where, just with viruses facing, the thought of getting sick and maybe dying and having loved ones get sick or get ill and or pass away, that alone would have been enough. But now we also have, all the civil unrest and the challenges of what we thought was the truth. Like, I didn't even know some of the stuff was going on just because we get involved in our own days. So, that definitely brings stuff into our face to really see and think about, what our truth is. And with sharing our truth, once we find out what our personal truth is, then it's all about how we share our truth. And, if we share our truth, not to debate whose truth is truer, but just to share our truth. And if individuals, if we, have a conversation with another person or even posting, this like I am, if we're open just to hear each other's truth without, judging it and waiting to kind of rebuttal it, we might have some more understanding of what our truth is or what something that we add onto our truth. We never know what that might be. But, we can have a change of heart sometimes, something that we thought was our truth. If we really understand something more deeply or have different perspectives brought to us, sometimes that truth within us can alter a little bit. Because really, you can never confront someone to tell them, your truth is wrong and you need to believe what I need to believe, because that usually works about 0% of the time, right? Because none of us like to be told what to believe or, even hint that we're wrong in, some sort of thinking. So, usually if we just approach it that way of, I don't expect this to be your truth, but I'm just sharing my truth in case it helps, someone along their path and bring us a little insight into someone's life. And it also can help me be open to hearing others' truths as well. Because if we share our truth just to try to convince someone to believe, take on my truth as their truth, all you get, in my experience anyway, is defensive walls will go up, right? And all people hear behind a defensive wall is there's no communication, there's no, openness, there's no transfer of real information and love. It usually becomes more of a battle, and the other person really doesn't listen. You've heard that what 90% of the time we're not really listening to the other person. We're just preparing our argument to rebuttal them. So, it's like, hey, kind of maybe we can look at why we share our truth, and we can get to a different perspective by looking at. One thing that came to me as I was kind of contemplating and thinking about this subject is when we're in fear, we aren't really communicating our truth. We're communicating fear's truth. Because when we go into that fight or flight mode, we're not thinking and we're not communicating with our truth that's in our being. We're only communicating what our fear ego is trying to defend and trying to do, and that usually doesn't work out so well in my experience. But when we're in a state of peace, when we can come to that place in our heart, where we're sitting in unconditional love, and we're in a peaceful place, then you're sharing truths. And that usually happens sometimes when someone believes along the same lines as you'll notice that its truth is flowing back and forth so freely until someone has an slightly alternate truth, and then wait a minute. Then the little skirmish begins. So sitting in unconditional love, and trying to stay in unconditional love as you communicate your truth, I think has been the condition that works best for communicating a truth. And we seem to always be sharing our truths, whether it's through actions, or our words, or our facial expressions. It's all communicating some sort of truth as we're going along. And of course, social media posts and things that we share onto our pages, or even just that, that is a way that we're communicating our truth, even if we don't realize that we are, or we're communicating fear's truth. So it's times such as these that we're in right now, these challenging times, that kind of challenge us to kind of just take a look at what truth we have inside, what truth, that we're communicating. What truth are we feeling? What truth are we sharing? What truth are we being? And maybe in these times we can, just take a deep breath, take a step back, and just take a look at what's going on around us, what is our truth. And maybe if we can do that from a place of unconditional love, we can have more compassion for what others are going through, what they've gone through all their lives. Any sides of any, kind of conflict that are going on, behind every individual in fear is a child inside that is seeking love, and they're only attacking and hurting each other because they're in fear. They feel out of control, and they feel they need to be in control to be safe. And just, if we can do that, we can even maybe have more compassion for ourselves, and just come to a place of where we have more, maybe more peace on the earth. You never know. But thanks for listening for me to share a little bit of my truth with you. Again, I share it not to try to convince you that my truth is your truth, but just that maybe it'll bring a little bit more of a Zen into your life today. So just hang in there. Enjoy your moments as much as possible. Smile, laugh, bring as much love and positive energy as we can into the world, and know that you are unconditionally loved. I love you. You take care.